I make a podcast episode every single day for 365 days.
You will be hated for speaking the truth.
You definitely have like an X-ray goggles on, where you can see someone's aura.
A house divided against itself shall not stand. Matthew chapter 12, verse 25.
If you want to make something of yourself, forget your political beliefs.
Because different believers experience God in different ways, different non-believers need different explanations to see God as real. Things that make you angry suck you in.
Satan's plan fails, right? And God's plan prevails.
So as today is Sunday, it's the Lord's Day, I'm going to be talking about a teaching that we went through at church today. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode, so again, forgive me for that, but I hope that you get the message of this video and that it sits with you in some way. So, what we read today at church, today is Sunday, the Lord's Day. We rejoice in the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, as we do every Sunday as Christians. What we talked about in church, specifically what I wanted to isolate, is the psalm that we sung. If you don't know, Catholic Mass, I don't know about the other types of Masses, but in Catholic Mass, we will sing a psalm. We sung the psalm from Psalm 118, and what was very interesting is you can go and take a look at Psalm 118, what's actually specifically talk about. It's about the Lord endures forever. His mercy endures forever. And what was specifically interesting about that psalm is that it was a pretty long psalm. Like, it wasn't that, like, it's not that crazy, but like in church, you're not going to be reading out the whole psalm. They're going to cut out certain parts of it, and then that's where you're going to be reading, and then you're going to be singing one specific part of it, which is talking about the Lord's mercy. But there was a big part in that psalm about David, who's the one who writes the psalms, King David, who he was talking about how he would destroy his enemies with the power of the Lord. And I was like, okay, it makes sense that you would leave that out of the church sermon, right? Like, it makes sense, right? Like I went back into the Bible later today, and I read it for myself because that's usually what I do on church days. Is when we go through the scriptures, I'll go back and I'll read them in the Bible. And if they skipped any specific verses, sometimes they do that even in the normal readings, where you just see like a verse. It's like 1 to 5, and then like 8 to 10, for example. Like, you skipped verse 6 and 7, which is like for example, it's very, sometimes they do that. So I want to go in for myself, and I want to see what it looks like for myself. And I think that's a very good practice you should do if you're trying to walk the walk with God and you're going to church. It'd be a good practice for you to just kind of what you read in church, reread it for yourself in the Bible and get your own understanding of the material. I think that's a good tip. That's just a sidebar. The whole point is on Psalm 118, David goes through talking about how the Lord's going to help him destroy his enemies, and how he's gone through a lot of pain and he's gone through a lot of suffering in his day, but he is not yet close to death. So he trusts in the Lord. And I looked at that and I was like, wow, that's a very powerful thing. Because really what I'm going to be talking about today is the hidden meaning behind that is the fact that through trust in the Lord, anything is possible. The Lord can help you defeat your enemies. The Lord can help you overcome adversities and chastenings, right? The Lord puts you through things, but you're never going to die. You're not going to be dead through the things that the Lord puts you through. On the other side of those difficult things will be something truly glorious if you truly put your faith in the Lord. If you put your faith in other things, what men can do is not anywhere near the level of power that what the Lord can accomplish. And of course, David, talks about that as well. Like, in comparison to manly things, to earthly things, it has no comparison to what God is capable of. So I just thought that to be super powerful. That it's like, perhaps the reason why things are a little bit bad is because you're trusting on earthly things. You're trusting on things that come and go, things that kind of vanish away. Whereas if you trust in something eternal, something greater than yourself, something that is there forever for all eternity, which is the Lord our God, it will allow you to kind of vanquish those evils that you're dealing with, those difficulties you're dealing with, the enemies that you are fighting. You might not be fighting actual real enemies, which David was fighting real enemies and in the battles for kingdom and stuff, but metaphorically, the battles that you're fighting in your own life, you will be able to overcome them, not by trusting yourself, not by trusting in man, in other things, but by trusting in the Lord and following his word and following his instruction. You will overcome those things you're dealing with. So I just thought it very interesting that yes, of course, it was pretty like descriptive about like he's going to destroy his enemies. So I understand why you wouldn't read that out in church. But I found it interesting. That's what he was talking about. He was talking about how even through it all, God's mercy endures forever. That was talked about in church, and that was what we read out in church. His mercy endures forever, which means it's forever. Like, we fail, we're not perfect, right? But God will forgive us if we truly strive to do better. We seek Him and we recognize when we're not perfect. He will be there for us, and He will be there to help us get through whatever things we're dealing with. But I think it's very important. I think the most important thing here is the fact that we all go through things in life. To put our trust into God will allow us in the best way to get through those things. If we put our trust in man and we put our trust in other things, like, people look to motivational speakers, they look to financial gurus to solve their issues. If you put your trust in those things, there's always going to be flawed stuff. Like, if you didn't watch the video yesterday, I actually forgot to post it on YouTube. That's why it looks like it is today. It was posted today, so that's my apologies. When you're done watching this one, if you enjoyed it, you can definitely go watch that one. I talked about a very interesting quote in Stoic philosophy, and I'm going to be talking a little bit more about Stoic philosophy in the coming days on this show. But the point is, that quote, and really that philosophy in general, it's good. Like, there's a lot that really does make sense, and the quote that I read out yesterday really does make sense for how to live your life. But there are flaws. There are things in it that actually that actually don't apply. That actually, sometimes there is an exception to this rule. Sometimes there is that, like, sometimes one thing doesn't actually help you in the same way that it helps another person, type of thing, if that makes sense. But I'm going to be talking about this type of thing going forward in future episodes. But the point is that you have these philosophies, these things that answer some questions of life, answer some way to help you deal with certain situations, but they don't deal with all of it, and they don't deal with everything specifically. I think, in my opinion, but I do believe that there's a lot of evidence for it, that God Himself, Jesus Christ, the Word of the Lord, is that thing that solves all problems indefinitely, and it solves all problems without fail, basically. And what David goes through, and what David is talking about in the Psalm, is a very important thing to kind of know, that he's going through problems, but actually going through problems and coming to the Lord with your problems, even if you're kind of, you even look back to Psalm 22, which we all know, my God, why have you forsaken me? And he goes on and talks about how the Lord is far away from him. Actually, it's funny because it's actually a form of worship to come to the Lord like that. And that's why it is a part of the Psalms, because if you're reading it without context, it looks like, oh, David's blaming the Lord for these things that he's dealing with. But then you look at Psalm 118, which he's saying that, like, the Lord's putting him through problems, but he's not going to die, so he's going to be okay. That's what he himself is writing about. So he rejoices in the Lord, for His mercy endures forever. But actually, like, if you're coming to the Lord with your problems, no matter how you do it, His mercy will abide in you, and He will help you solve them. And it is a form of worship. It is a form of you trusting in Him, that He has the power to solve your problems. And that is the truth, and that is the thing that will help you overcome things. So if you trust in earthly things, there are many different things you can look at and say, hey, that's for me, that makes sense. But there's always flaws to it. So I think trusting in God is the one thing that is flawless. So I just wanted to kind of touch upon that as I was reading about it. And, honestly, I don't have a lot of other ideas to talk about on this show. So whenever I kind of am sitting here trying to figure out, so it's pretty late in the day, I'm trying to figure out an episode to talk about, the best thing to talk about is the Word of the Lord. It is the truth and the absolute beauty that comes with it. So I encourage you to go read that psalm, and read some of the passages where Jesus, He walks into His disciples and He says, peace be with you. The peace of God, the mercy of God. This is what lives with us every day. It's up to each and every one of us to decide to go and seek it for ourselves, but we will find it if you go out there and truly go and seek the Lord. He will work amazing things in you. And He is the one solution to all problems that exist in each and every one of our individual lives. I truly do believe that the Bible is the ultimate instruction manual, that if you follow the teachings, and even myself, I recently was, like, I'm going through some difficult things right now, and recently I read some passages in the Bible that basically gave me the exact next course of action as to what I need to do in my life. Maybe I'll get a little more specific about these things in the future, but as of now, I'm still going through it. But I think the main thing is like, don't trust in earthly things. Trust in God. And if you truly lay it all at his feet, no matter how you do it, no matter how broken you are, his mercy will abide and it will truly endure forever, as David says in Psalm 118. And you'll see many great things start to happen in your life. So put your stresses, put all your problems at the Lord's feet, and he will truly make something glorious happen. I think that's the biggest thing that I take from Psalm 118, as well as from many other teachings in the Bible, that the Lord will help you overcome any and all battles that you're dealing with in the most beautiful way, without fail, no matter what in your life. You have to trust in him. That is your duty. That is your calling, to trust in him, to put your life in at his hands, and you do that by rejoicing in the Lord's name, by acting out of faith, and by reading the word, by praying on things that you're dealing with, meditating on things that you're dealing with, and truly trying to glorify God in all that you do in your life. And the more you do that, the more you'll see many amazing things happen. I truly do believe that, and I truly do leave that as a message for you. Whatever you're dealing with, those things will pass, but they will pass all the more quicker if you give it to God and you let him handle it. So no matter what, I think that is the real truth of life. If you give it to God, he'll make amazing things happen. If you give it to earthly things, sometimes it'll work, other times it won't. But God, it'll work all the time, without fail. So that is all I got to say for today. I'm going to be trying to make better episodes for tomorrow and for the coming days. Forgive me for a little bit of a shorter episode today, but I still hope you rejoiced in it all the same. So as I said earlier in the show, go watch the episode I made yesterday that I only uploaded on YouTube today because I forgot, about the Stoic quote, and as well as many other episodes that I've made on this show. It's 365 Podcasts. I make an episode every day for a whole year. So I really do hope you enjoy it, and I really do hope that you take some good lessons from these episodes to apply them into your life and to truly glorify God in all that you do. I try my best to do it in what I do as well, but of course I fail, and we all fail, but that's okay, because we have the peace and mercy through Jesus Christ, and in him may all things be made truly possible in our lives. So that's all I gotta say for today. I'll leave you off with that. Thank you for watching. Show your support in every way that you can. Like the video, subscribe on YouTube, and follow the show on Spotify. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next episode.